opportunity for certain technologies to leap forward. And I don't think that that ground will be lost. I'm not seeing real evidence of a quote, a backlog happening. It feels like everything's on a pause. And if everything's on a pause, then when we start up, it likely is there certainly will be spots of it. Bankruptcy is going to surge, things like that. But having said that, if this crisis continues for a long time, if we're looking at not having a vaccine until mid 2021, and we're dealing with this to the end of 2021 or into 2022, then I think that's very hard to predict. I think that we are looking at, again, technology changes having an impact on this, rule changes and law changes having an impact. But I think then we're facing, starting to understand the psychological impact on this, on a generation of people. And then we have to deal with questions, in my specific case, about things like, how long is it really going to be before a court is willing to bring in 120 people for jury selection and put them into a jury box? I don't know the answer to that yet. And there's good discussion going on around that. So my crystal ball basically is, if we clear this up quickly, which I don't think we will, it will probably have minimal impact other than some technologies leaping forward. If it drags on, we need to have this conversation again in November. And I think it'll be a very different conversation.
Tony, what's your crystal ball telling you? Lasting impact on the industry?
Yeah, lasting impact is, in conversations with clients, there's two schools of thought of it. One is what I call, we're going to go back to normal conversation. Attorneys will continue to want to do depositions as they've done. Courts will open up. There's another school of thought that I'm hearing for customers, which is it's a new normal. I think I'm more in line with what I'm hearing to the new normal. And I just want to reflect that with two questions that actually a customer brought up with me. Even if courts open, and they're going to have to open in a very cautious way, there are procedures being put out now by the U.S. Court Administrative Office on how they're going to do that. What happens if a deponent or a witness is not willing to go back in a room regardless of their state or court opening? And what about an at-risk population that's suddenly larger than it's been before? How do we handle them? So I think looking at that at a bigger societal level, there's going to be lasting change. There's going to be more adoption of technology. But to what Steve was saying, whether that's 6 months or 12 months, I think it's early yet. But I think inevitably, as more of the industry is exposed to the technology and changes in procedures, we're going to head somewhere back to a new normal than going back to what we've done before.
Okay. Billy, same question. Crystal ball, lasting impact on the industry.
So I like the crystal ball question, so I'm willing to put myself out there a bit. I think this is going to have profound, or COVID that is going to have profound changes on our industry. First and foremost, any court reporting firm or service provider that has not adopted or taken into or implemented new technology or being able to support it, I think they're going to get left behind. I think that lost market share is gone for them forever. Because I think location is going to be a secondary condition when our clients are scheduling depositions. Similar to firms that carry lots of debt. You know, there was a lot of free money out there pre-COVID, and a lot of firms took on substantial debt. And I think those firms are suffering now and are going to continue to suffer through this COVID pandemic. And then third, I think these law firms are adopting this technology. And so I think we're going to see more and more firms requesting it, some of them even requiring it. Tony raised an excellent point that you can have all the states you want open up and ease restrictions, right? But if I have a witness who says, I'm not going around other people to take my deposition, or if I have a stenographer that says, I don't feel safe being around other people, I'm not going to put him or her into harm's way. Right? I have to protect our employees. I have to protect our independent contractors. And so those firms that haven't adopted the technology are going to get left behind. And I think a result of that will be further consolidation in the court reporting provider space because of it.
Interesting. Okay, next slide, and Bill, you're going to be on the hot seat again. But what variety of legal proceedings, length, type of litigation, type of client, whatever else, are best or worst suited to being conducted remotely?
So every single one of them, we have done all of them, and whether it's a mediation, deposition, hearing, a trial, or anything in between, we have done each of them remotely, and they're all well suited to be conducted remotely. I think the key is having buy-in from the attorneys or from your clients, right? So it's incumbent a part of the new normal. So, number one is the attorney buy-in. And I think that's coming, because I can just tell you over the last 4 weeks, we've given at Planet Depots over 200 webinars to attorneys and their support staff. So over 2,000, 3,000 people have already seen remote capabilities. And I can tell you the response from most of them has been, why didn't I do this sooner? Why was I traveling from Boston to San Francisco for a one-day deposition? That doesn't make any sense. The amount of expense to my clients and my lost time to go do that, it's not worth it. Now I can see it. I can do it right through Zoom or through WebEx or through any of these platforms, and it's a piece of cake, and I'm home in time for dinner. So I just think the buy-in from the client is key.
Steve, same question. Best or worst suited from your to remote from your perspective?
So I think up to a point, I would agree with Billy that virtually all of them can be adapted to remote. There are certainly differences between relatively simple matters with a few participants versus proceedings with a judge that have multiple participants, criminal arraignments where there